Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. If it is your first time joining me, welcome, and if you are returning, hungry for more, welcome back. My name is Nicole and I am a student staff with Recreation and Athletics, and I am also a nutrition and food student here at Ryerson. This event is Let's Cook Food Tip Tuesday, and is a part of Get Ryerson Ready for incoming Ryerson students. Be sure to stick around because just like last time, I will be telling you the bad code word at a random point during the video. This is now the third and final event of this series, and I hope everyone is ready to cook alongside me with their ingredients. It's summertime, and on those hot summer days, I know that I most definitely do not want to be cooking. Summer rolls like the ones we'll be making today are a great option for a cold, refreshing, and filling meal on those hot days. This recipe is chock full of summer fresh fruits and vegetables. And let's talk a little bit more about why you should be eating fruits and vegetables. They are rich in vitamins, minerals, fiber, and something called antioxidants, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Antioxidants are naturally found in food. They can be a vitamin, such as vitamin A, C, or E, plant chemicals like flavonoids or carotenoids, which give fruits and vegetables their colors, or a mineral such as selenium. Antioxidants protect your body's cells from damage, which happen naturally as you age or when you are exposed to pollution and cigarette smoke. Cell damage can lead to common diseases like heart disease and diabetes, but a diet rich in antioxidants can help lower your risk of these diseases. Foods such as broccoli and strawberries have vitamin C, almonds and avocados have vitamin E, green tea, apples, and red grapes have flavonoids, and soybeans and fish like tilapia, salmon, and cod have selenium. The bottom line is that eating a variety of fruits and vegetables will ensure you get all the antioxidants you need. Now let's move on to our recipe. So for our recipe, you'll need a pack of rice paper sheets, 1 large carrot, 2 cucumbers, 1 purple cabbage, 1 avocado, 1 mango. Now for the sauce, you'll need 3 tablespoons of light miso paste. Depending on the product you buy or the grocery store you go to, this might be difficult to find, but I found that some products say miso paste on them and others say soybean paste on them. It just depends on the manufacturer, so if you see soybean paste, just know that that is miso paste. As well for the sauce, you'll need 4 tablespoons of seasoned rice vinegar, half a teaspoon of fresh grated ginger, and 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. Our first step for this recipe is going to be preparing all of our fruits and vegetables, but we want to do 2 things before we go ahead with that. The first is going to be washing our hands because hygiene is always key, and then secondly, we're going to wash all of our fruits and vegetables because we want to make sure those are clean before we start cutting into them. I'm going to be showing you different techniques to spiralize vegetables, but without a spiralizer. The first technique is going to be on our carrot. So I know the recipe said 1 large carrot, but I couldn't find a carrot quite big enough, so I grabbed 2 smaller carrots, and I'll be able to show you the julienning technique that we'll be doing on them with those 2 small carrots. So go ahead and grab your carrot. After you wash your carrot, go ahead and peel it and then chop both ends of the carrot off. I've already gone ahead and done that. The first thing we want to do with them is cut your carrots to the length that you want your matchsticks to be. So for this longer one, you can see I have 2 uneven sized carrots. One is way taller than the other. I'm going to cut this one in half and this one in thirds. Now go ahead and move your other carrots to the side. Take the first piece of carrot that you want to work with, and you're going to make a small slice on the side of the carrot. And this is just so that you can place the carrot down and it'll help stabilize it as you're working with it. Then you're going to go ahead and slice down the length of the carrot. And then once you're happy with how many slices you did there, you're gonna go ahead and stack them on top of each other and do the same thing again. You're just going down that length. So once you do that, you'll see that you have matchstick slice sized carrot pieces. They look like this. And go ahead and put it where you're going to put your vegetables. So I have a clean baking sheet here that I'm going to be putting all of my vegetables in. You can use a plate or any other kind of serving accessory you have with you. We're going to repeat for the remaining pieces of carrot that you have left over. All right, now once you're done and you've moved all of your pieces of carrot over to the baking sheet or maybe a plate that you have, let's move on to preparing the cucumber. Okay, so once you have your cucumber placed on your cutting board, go ahead and remove each side of the cucumber. Let's get rid of those. Now we are going to be spiralizing these using a potato peeler. This is a pretty fun one and it's probably the fastest option out of all three. So you're just gonna take your potato peeler and peel it like you would potato skins. You're gonna hold it and press away from you towards the cutting board pretty gently. And this will make a nice ribbon. And keep going. I like to turn the cucumber as I go, just so that I'm really getting all of it and it won't be as weak. You'll see what I mean in just a minute because the inside will get pretty floppy the further we get in. Now once we get to this inside part where it's mostly just seeds, it is going to get pretty hard to continue to make these ribbons. I think I'm almost done. I don't know if I can do it anymore here. So an option, if you don't want to waste the rest of this cucumber, you can use the julienne technique that we use on the carrots, and that'll help use up the whole vegetable so you're not just throwing it out. So once you are finished up with your first cucumber, you can move on to the second cucumber, repeating the same steps. So just cut off those ends and then make the ribbons out of the potato peeler. Alright, now that all of your cucumber is done and is placed in your baking tray, we're going to go ahead and move on to preparing the avocado. Now, avocados have a really unique shape, and I don't think you really find anything else that you cut the way that you cut an avocado. Go ahead and dig out this little pit. And then we're going to actually cut around the avocado because inside of the avocado there's a hard pit and you're not going to be able to cut through it. So place your avocado from the head going down, take your knife and just push it in until you can't push it anymore. And then you're gonna spin the knife, the blade of your knife around the pit of the avocado. So going all the way around the fruit. And then once you're back at the top, you should be able to just twist and plop it off. And then you can see we have a really nice avocado here. I'm really excited about it. I love avocado. So you might be wondering how you get this pit out. There's a couple different ways you can do it. I know a lot of people like to take the knife and kind of smash it in there and then take it out. I have had some maybe not so great experiences doing that. So what I like to do is actually take a spoon and scoop it out. So I like to kind of just go around the pit to loosen it. And then once you've gone all the way around, just pop it out. Here we go. You can just put that aside. And then once you're done that, you're gonna take your knife and lightly go through it, and you're gonna make really small slivers going from the top to the bottom. And this will be your avocado slices that will go into the rolls. So you wanna make them pretty thin, as I said. And go lightly. You don't need to use a lot of pressure. Avocado is a very soft fruit. Once you're done that, grab that spoon again, and you're gonna take the spoon and bring it around the edge of the avocado. This will just help loosen the fruit from its rind, and then you'll be able to just scoop it right out. You can place that on your baking sheet and go ahead and do that with the second side. So it's pretty obvious that it's a different setting right now. It's very much later at night than what we were filming earlier. And this is because we watched the shots after the fact, and we realized that the portion of me cutting the mango was just completely gone. Not really sure what happened there, but we're just gonna refilm it really quick. We ran over to our grocery store to try to find a mango. Alright, so as always, of course, you want to wash the skin of your fruit before you start cutting. And then you are going to take your mango and cut right down the center till you can't really anymore. So I'm hitting the pit here. Then you're just going to take your knife and try to trace that pit really gently. And get to the bottom. So there we go. That is one half. You can tell that the mango is definitely not ripe. It's pretty pale. So when your mango is ripe, it'll be a nice kind of deep orange yellowy color. Now you can go ahead and repeat that on the other side. Okay. Now if you want, this is the part I was talking about, you can cut both sides of the mango here. You'll get some extra fruit. And you can add this to your summer rolls as well. There we go, and that is the pit. You can also, if you're feeling funky, you can eat around the pit. You can just nibble on it. It's a pretty good snack, but it is a little bit of a harder fruit right near the pit. It's not as juicy as these parts will be. So once we have this, we're going to take each of these large halves, and you're going to make a lot of really small cuts down the mango like this. You don't need to have a really strong force when you're going down and doing this. The mango should be pretty ripe and pretty soft. Just have a gentle touch when you're going down. I might have to have a little bit of a harder touch just because my mango is not ripe. And you want these to be pretty thin. At this point, I like to just flip it around so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. There we go. So at this point, I'm not going to be able to show this to you just because my mango is a little bit too hard. It's not ripe enough for me to show you. But what you're going to do is take your spoon and really just dig it in. And then you're going to bring your spoon around the edges of the mango to separate the flesh from the skin. And then once it's all the way around, you should be able to just scoop it out if it's ripe enough. It's a pretty easy process. And you'll be able to do that on both halves of the mango. For this portion of the mango, you can take it and do the similar steps. So doing really long but thin slits just kind of across the mango and then scooping it. Or you can, again, do the long thin slits and then actually just peel it off and separate it with your fingers. That's also another option for you. So now that our mango is done, let's move on to doing our cabbage. So the first thing you want to do with your cabbage is, of course, wash your cabbage. Then you're going to be removing those outer large leaves of the cabbage. Then you can go ahead and cut off the bottom stem. Once that's done, it'll really be stable and you'll be able to cut halfway through the cabbage. The recipe only calls for half of the head of purple cabbage, so that's why we want to cut it in half. Now once that's done, and I have completed it already, so here's my half of the cabbage. The spiralizing technique that we're going to be using on this is with a box grater. On the box grater, we're going to be using the largest holes. So doing this is not going to be super effective because the half of the cabbage is still pretty large. So you can go ahead and either cut it in half or in thirds. It just depends on how big the half of your cabbage head is right now. I'm going to cut mine into thirds and it'll just make it easier to manage. Alright, once that's done, we're not going to need our knife anymore. You can move it aside and then grab your box grater a little bit closer and you can start shredding. So this is kind of just like grating cheese, but you're grating a cabbage instead. Just going to go down. And this is really going to help you get little pieces of cabbage that'll make it just a little bit softer in your cabbage roll. I find cutting up the cabbage, I can't get it quite fine enough that I like it. So using the shredder is a really good technique to getting it to a nice consistency. So once you get close to the end of that piece, and it's not really safe for you to keep going because you don't want to be getting so close to your fingers that you might grate your skin, go ahead and stop. If you want to use the end of that piece, as I mentioned with the cucumber, you can go ahead and use a julienning technique or just cutting it up really finely with your knife. Now take your pieces of shredded cabbage. Look at how beautiful that looks. It's so vibrant. And we can take it and put it on our baking sheet. This is easily the messiest step, but that's okay. Don't be afraid to get your hands on your food, especially because we washed them at the beginning of this video. Now move along and we can do the second and third piece of our cabbage. Alright, so now that we're done preparing all of our vegetables and maybe you've cleaned up your workspace, I know I definitely have, we're going to go ahead and start rolling the summer rolls. So go ahead and put some hot water on your baking pan. Be careful with the kettle if you're using a kettle to get the hot water. We don't want it too hot and we definitely don't want to burn ourselves, so just be mindful of how hot it is when you're putting it in. And once you have your water in, we can go ahead and submerge our rice paper for a couple of seconds. So this is what my rice paper looks like before it goes in. And when it comes out, it's gonna be essentially translucent and we're not gonna be able to see the crisscross pattern that's on the sheet right now. It should take anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds, and you want to submerge it completely. It might try to come out and roll up when it is first submerged, but just go ahead and really push it down. And once those 10 to 20 seconds are up, go ahead and take it out. You want to take it out carefully so that it doesn't fold in on itself. I like to take both sides of one end and then put it onto a clean plate. It takes some practice to move it from the baking sheet to the plate without getting it all muddled into itself, so be patient with yourself if you don't get it the first try. Once you do have it placed, we can go ahead and add our fruits and vegetables to the summer roll. So I recommend going from the thinnest to the thickest vegetables. I just find that the placement of them is easiest. So I would start with the cabbage and then move on to the carrot, probably the mango next, the cucumber, and then the avocado. If you find placing them differently works best for you, you can go ahead and do that. And you also don't have to add all of the fruits and vegetables in each roll. You can really be creative with it. You don't have to follow any sort of pattern. You're going to be eating them, so you want to make them how you enjoy them. Alright, now that you're happy with how it looks, we can go ahead to roll the summer roll. So move your plate so that the fruits and vegetables are closest to you. Then you're going to take each end here and fold it over where your fruits and vegetables are. So this will just seal the edges of the summer roll. Then you're going to grab the end that is closest to the fruits and vegetables, and you're going to bring it over that filling, and then continue to roll the length of the rice paper. Once you're done, you'll have a really beautiful summer roll completed, and you can put it on your plate, and then just continue that process. The recipe says that you should get anywhere from 12 to 24 summer rolls, and that really just depends on how much fruits and vegetables you're adding into each roll, so that's why there's such a big variation. So let's continue on with this process, and I'll see you at the end once I've filled up all of my summer rolls. Once all of your summer rolls are done, let's move on to making our sauce. Now that we have all of our ingredients together, we're going to whisk all of them together to make the sauce. So add your fresh grated ginger into a mixing bowl. Then we'll add our miso paste. We'll add our sesame oil. And finally, our seasoned rice wine vinegar. Once they're all in the bowl, we're just going to whisk them together. Be gentle with this, they do need to combine, and miso can be pretty thick to work with. So once the sauce is combined, that is the end of our recipe. So we just made these summer rolls with Miso Ginger Sauce, which also happens to be our code word for this session, miso. That's M-I-S-O, miso. What I really enjoy about this recipe is that it's customizable. You can add or swap out any fruits and vegetables you like, and you can also throw in different protein options such as shrimp and chicken. I also tried making a peanut butter dipping sauce using peanut butter, soy sauce, sriracha, and some water to thin it out, and it was really yummy with this recipe. Don't be afraid to customize all of the recipes I've given you and try new things. Thank you so much for tuning into this series for Get Ryerson Ready, which was Let's Cook Food Tips Tuesday. I've had a lot of fun cooking with everyone, and I hope you've learned a lot, maybe picked up some new cooking skills, as well as learned some new recipes. Thank you so much. Bye.